What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. Today we got a reaction to Metallica's top 10 songs, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, River. Thank you, River. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. Running a free trial. Super appreciate it, guys. We could not do it without the patrons. All right. We put up a Metallica top 10 songs from another patron, Josh, all the way back in October of 2020. In the early days of this channel. I don't even really remember it, meaning I don't remember it at all because it was a long time ago and 3,000 videos ago. But River has this to say, because River's taken on this task of running the big four of thrash metal, right? So we already got up Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. So River says, and finally the biggest of the big four, Metallica. Metallica was, and still is, the biggest metal band to break into the mainstream. It wasn't uncommon for Metallica to be played on mainstream radio stations. It wasn't uncommon, at least where I grew up, to what Metallica songs hear them even at the mall. Not just at, say, Hot Topic. Their story is a long one, and one with many twists and turns, and it's best to listen to them as I did. Every single album, even their worst, Saint Anger, is worth a listen, even if I still think it is, in fact, the album that killed their momentum as a band. To me, it's much like the late Beatles, in that they needed to do something to keep the band together, and I think if the albums are what it took, that's fine. Metallica were my intro to heavy metal. The first album I was ever given was Load. I'm going to give you some background on the band. If you're watching this, I'm sure you probably know, but here's just a little review. They're an American heavy metal band formed in LA in 1981 by vocalist and guitarist James Hetfield and drummers Lars Ulrich, and has been based in San Francisco for most of their career. The band's fast tempos, instrumentals, and aggressive musicianship made them one of the founding Big Four members of thrash metal, as I told you, alongside Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. Metallica's current lineup comprises founding members and primary songwriters Hetfield and Ulrich, longtime lead guitarist Kirk Hammett, and bassist Robert Trujillo. Guitarist Dave Mustaine, who formed Megadeth, okay, top 10's up with that, after being fired from Metallica, and bassist Ron McGovney, Cliff Burton, and Jason Newsted are former members of the band. So when you think about how long they've been together, that's very few former members of the band. Usually when your band's been together for this long, you're going to have a list, a laundry list, a paragraph of former members. So that says something. Its fifth album, Metallica, self-titled 1991, or the Black Album, was a turning point for the band that saw them transition from their thrash roots as it appealed to a more mainstream audience, achieving substantial commercial success and selling more than 16 million copies in the United States to date, making it the biggest selling album of the SoundScan era. So let's visit that for a second. Let's just marinate. 1991, biggest selling album since 1991. It's 2025 on record, and it always will be because of the way we track album sales now with streaming is totally different. SoundScan era, where they actually did this the right way. How many albums were actually sold? Before this, record stores would say, and we sold this many of this. So you got to really take all of those album sales from old albums with kind of a grain of salt. Yeah, it's kind of an estimate, but some of those things were manipulated. There's no manipulation here because it was actually recorded. In 2000, Metallica led the case against the peer-to-peer file sharing service Napster, in which the band and several other artists filed lawsuits against the service for sharing their copyrighted protected material without consent, eventually reaching a settlement. Now, many of you are younger, so you don't remember Napster and what was going on in 2000. I guarantee you when Napster came about, some people, not going to incriminate myself, like, this is insane. I can just type a song in and here it is. Like, this is crazy. Now I understand this is what we do, but it was quite the thing back then. In 2009, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They released 11 studio albums, 4 live albums, including 2 performances with the San Francisco Symphony, 12 video albums, 1 cover album, 2 extended plays, 37 singles, 39 music videos. Really, 11 studio albums is not that much when you were formed in 1981. The band's won 10 Grammys from 26 nominations, pretty good percentage there, and had 6 consecutive studio albums from Metallica through Hardwired to Self-Destruct in 2016. Debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. They rank as one of the most commercially successful bands and artists, really, of all time, selling more than 130 million albums. They're listed as one of the greatest artists of all time by magazines such as Rolling Stone, who ranked them 61st on the 100 greatest artists of all time, which is quite rare company. All right, you never mentioned before, the music won't be in the video, but it's going to be at the Vimeo link below. Click below. Don't worry about this up here. I'm just reminding you. Click below. You can watch it all with us. We'll kick it off at number 10, which may be a surprise to a lot of you. Enter Sandman from that Metallica or Black album in 1991. River said, is this sacrilege to put what is the most well-known Metallica song of all time at 10? Nah, probably not. Many would say the Black album's where Metallica sold out. This is nonsense. The album is a classic, but I don't think this is their best. It's not even the best on the album in my view. River says that would either be Through the Never or Sad But True. But the song is important, so it gets to the top of the list. Now, we're going to watch a video for this one, a performance. River says, because of this performance, it shows how much Metallica was influential. Moscow, 1991 in September. A free concert. Reports indicated 2 million in attendance. And if you look at the first few frames, you can believe it. I've actually seen a little bit of this video in the past when I was checking out because of saying that many people were at the concert. I found there's going to be more on this. Don't worry if you're watching this for the first time. I'm not going to give you this much info on every song. This song's just obviously highly important because it's a song that if people don't know who Metallica is, almost everyone knows this song. Lead single, certified platinum, selling over 1 million copies. Their biggest radio hit, considered their signature song. It follows a theme of childhood fear and nightmares, with the Sandman symbolizing the sleep that he dreads. However, the Sandman of European folklore actually represents the bringer of good dreams. I thought that was interesting. In 2007, Lars told Uncut, Enter Sandman was the first thing we came up with when we sat down for the songwriting process in July 1990. The 10-minute, 12-tempo changes side of Metallica had run its course. We wanted to streamline and simplify things. We wrote the song in a day or two. All of the bits of Enter Sandman are derived from the main riff. Meanwhile, James Hetfield also told Uncut at the same time, I wanted more of the mental thing, where this kid gets manipulated by what adults say. You know, when you wake up with all that stuff in your eye that supposedly was put in there by the Sandman to make you dream. So the guy in the song tells this little kid, and he kind of freaks. He can't sleep after that and works the opposite way. Instead of a soothing thing, the tables turn. Now, 20 years after the song was released, producer Bob Rock shared the original concept of the song's lyrics with Music Radar. He said at first, based on the music and the riff, the band and their management thought it would be the first single. Then they heard James's lyrics and realized the song was about crib death. That didn't go over well. I sat down with James and talked to him about his words. I told him, quote, what you have is great, but it can be better. Does it have to be so literal? Not that I was thinking about the single. I just wanted him to make the song great. It was a process, him learning to say what he wanted, but in a more poetic and sort of open kind of way. He rewrote some of the lyrics, and there it was, the first single. It also evolved from a guitar riff that Hammett wrote after being inspired by Soundgarden's 1989 album, Louder Than Love. This song had what Hetfield described as a wall of guitars, 3 rhythm guitar tracks of the same riff played by himself to create a wall of sound. According to engineer Randy Staub, close to 50 takes of the drums were recorded because Lars did not record the song in its entirety, but rather recorded each section of the song separately because it was difficult to get in one take the intensity that the band wanted. Numerous takes were selected and edited together. Staub mentioned that the production team spent much time getting the best sound from each part of the room and used several combinations of 40 to 50 microphones in recording the drums and guitars to simulate the sound of a live concert. The bass guitar sound also gained importance with rock. As Newsted states, Metallica's sound was previously very guitar-oriented, and that's when he, talking about Bob Rock, the producer, came into the picture. Bass frequencies also came into the picture. As the first single, it was the first song to be mixed, a task that took roughly 10 days just for this one song, because the band and Bob Rock had to create the sound for the entire album while mixing the song. It's nominated for Best Rock Song at the Grammy Awards in 1992, ultimately losing to the Soul Cages by Sting, which is highway robbery, but I digress. Rolling Stone listed as the 408th best song on their 500 best songs of all time. On the 100 greatest heavy metal songs of all time, it was 30th. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame includes it in their list of the 500 songs that shaped rock. Motorhead covered this in 1998 and received a nomination for their performance for Best Metal Performance. And, this is interesting, during the 2003 invasion of Iraq, uncooperative prisoners were exposed to the song for extended periods by American interrogators. According to the U.S. Psychological Operations, the intention was to, quote, break a prisoner's resistance by playing music that was culturally offensive to them, end quote. Upon discovering the song was used for these purposes, Lars commented that, saying, it all seems so bizarre and so strange that Metallica's music, which generally sort of facilitates bringing people together, is used in this bizarre circumstance. It's certainly not something that we in any way advocate or condone. The kid talking in this is Bob Rock's actual son, the producer's son. It's went to 10 in Australia, 2 in Canada, 5 in the UK. This shocked me. It only went to 16 in the US. If you were around then, you watch it MTV. It was on MTV all the time. So, like I said, I'm not going to have that much information on every song, but this song had a lot of nuances. Highly important, obviously. Put Metallica on the mainstream map. And number 10 on River's Countdown. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again to River. Okay. I mean, every music fan should watch that video, right? It's incredible. The official count was 1.6 million, but what an insane scene. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to be the guys standing up on that stage, getting all of that coming back at you. And I'm not going to give you a big history lesson here, but I grew up during the latter part of the Cold War, right? I was born in 1971. This is 1991. Russia has fallen from communism and the oppression of that, where none of these people could listen to anything like this or be any part of anything like this. You still have the soldiers and the police officers there, and you have a helicopter flying incredibly low over that crowd, right? That's kind of insane to see that in that scene. I've never seen anything like that where the helicopter is just going back and forth over a crowd that low. So it's an insane scene to remind you that this is still, with the soldier, I mean, it's free, but there's still a little tension there. But to see these people let loose, but to have all of that coming back to you. And I don't know if there's many songs of the last, 40 years that when the opening riff plays, you know exactly what it is. It's just so familiar. What a fantastic performance, because that's got to be a lot of pressure. And your adrenaline's, got to just be going full bore. Your heart's got to be beating really fast to be able to then settle down and play everything. They did a great job and really fun to watch. And I'm really glad that River included this. Song number 10, Enter Sandman. Except at number 9, we got Ride the Lightning from the album of the same name in 1984. River says the title track of Metallica's arguably most loved early album. And I found this song is about spending your final moments in an electric chair. The title was taken from Stephen King's The Stand. According to James, the song is not a criticism of capital punishment, but a tale of a man sentenced to death for a crime he did not commit. As in the opening lyrics, guilty as charged, but damn it, it ain't right. He also said, we just got into some social topics. The death penalty was a big question in the electric chair. That's heavy. What if that was you mistakenly? That's what the song was about, being accidentally found guilty and put to death with no way to stop it. Just a matter of putting myself into other people's situations and trying to get these feelings out. And Kirk said, I was the one who spotted the phrase ride the lightning. Because when we were recording the first album, we were staying at the house of this guy named Gary Zefting. I was reading the book The Stand by Stephen King, waiting to do my parts, and I read that phrase. It stuck in my head, so I wrote it down and told James. He's like, whoa, cool. All right, Ride the Lightning. Obviously great guitar work from Kirk and James, but the lyrics are fire. They are really, really good. If this is your type of music, this is going to be right up your alley. All the change ups and, it's really well done. Next up at number 8, we got the Four Horsemen from Kill 'Em All in 1983, their debut. It was originally written by original Metallica member and Megadeth frontman and founder Dave Mustaine. The lyrics were originally about teen sexual frustration, as seen in Megadeth's recording of Mustaine's version, Mechanics, that's what it's called. Mustaine said the bridge was inspired by the main riff in Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama. Later, it was rewritten to be about the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Lars says Dave brought in some things he had from his old band Panic, things he'd been jamming, bigger picture ideas, stuff like that. The song The Four Horsemen was in its early version called Mechanics, and it was literally a song about sex. There were lyrics about taking the hose and sticking it in the tank, a gas station stop disguised as sexual engagement. It didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time, but we knew that was the sort of thing we wanted to move away from. The sexual stuff that hard rock bands were singing about at the time, which we thought was a little light and a little obvious. All right, the Four Horsemen, and once again, I'm going to be a broken record on all this. The guitar work is fantastic. All the change-ups, all the stuff. Once again, if this is your type of music, I totally appreciate it. I'm always objective, not subjective on those reviews. This is not really my kind of music, but I totally get it, and it's super well done. And you can tell early on, this is their first album, how good they not only are out of the gate, but that they're going to be. And the writing, even on the first album, is really good. Now we're up to song number 7, And Justice for All, from the album of the same name in 1988. Released as a promotional single, like the album it features on it, it's named after the last 4 words of the Pledge of Allegiance. The song deals with how the rich and powerful corrupt justice and the legal system and abuse for their own ends, much to the detriment of the poor and vulnerable. Now this is 1988. At least that doesn't happen now, right? In 2025? Nothing's changed. You really can see that these guys are writing about some serious stuff, right? There is no stuff about girls and this. Like it's serious stuff. The song was not in any Metallica concerts following the Justice Tour in 88, 89, because as Kirk Hammett put it, I couldn't stand watching the front row start to yawn by the 8th or 9th minute. Only 19 years later, in 2008, it returned to the set list. This is the longest song on here. It's almost 10 minutes. All of these songs are long, but this is the longest one on here. Let's get it. All right, and Justice for All. So this is a song for me that kind of has two sides to it. I know the guitar work is fantastic, obviously, right? It's just so repetitive for me. And we're 2 minutes and 8 seconds in before we get lyrics, and then we get another break at the 5:12 mark. So while it's really done, it's just incredibly repetitive. So songs that push 10 minutes that are like this, they're not going to be up among my favorites, and that's putting it kindly. However, the other side of this is the lyrics are fantastic, and they tell a story all the way back then that is even more true as I film this in 2025. Way more true, that the rich can manipulate the system and get away with anything. Now, part of it's a grand scheme, a grand idea of, criminals because they can manipulate the justice system and get out of it anyway. Like the justice system really isn't just, it tries to be. In some countries it doesn't. Here in the US it tries to be. But there's so many ways around things. But then it gets into the deeper topic of the rich can kind of do whatever they want. And that's pretty much true. So I thought the lyrics were great. I thought the song was fine. If the song was 5 minutes, it would have been pretty banging. 9:46, pretty rough for this guy, but still good. All right, as we round out the top half of this list, same album, Ride the Lightning, 1984. We got Creeping Death. River says, one of the B-sides of Ride the Lightning. The song describes the angel of death entering Egypt during the 10th plague. I found lead and only commercial single. Fade to Black and For Whom the Bell Tolls from the same album were issued as promotional singles. Long story. I won't get into the differences. Based on the story of the first Passover from the book of Exodus, it's a brutal retelling of the story of the angel of death. When the Pharaoh refused to release the Hebrew slaves, God sent down an angel to take the lives of every firstborn child, unless a house was marked with the blood of a blemish-free lamb. I mean, I'm a Christian. I know the story, but if you've seen the famous movie from 1956, Charlton Heston, The Ten Commandments, that they show every year here in the U.S. On Easter Sunday, that's what this is about. The title came from a comment bassist Cliff Burton made while watching the film The Ten Commandments. I forgot I wrote that in there, so there you go. The guitar riff in the bridge was written by lead guitarist Kirk Hammett when he was only 16 years old and was originally using the Exodus song Die by His Hand. Also, the song was ranked at number 1 on Guitar World's 10 greatest Metallica songs of all time. All right, Creeping Death. I would only made that one 1 minute shorter. So this is what And Justice for All could have been. This is a really good song. I say it every time. It's got to be great guitar work. Kirk Hammett sounds like there's 5 of him out there, like in a very good way. The lyrics are great. And I mentioned I used to be a Christian. I actually used to be a pastor for a couple of years. They're theologically absolutely perfect. Totally correct. Writing it from the perspective of the angel of death. I mean, creative and really well done. Great lyricism. Really enjoyed this song. All right, next up as we get to the top 5. We got The Thing That Should Not Be off Master of Puppets in 1986. It was inspired by the Chulu mythos created by famed horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. You know I butchered that, but with notable direct references to the shadow over Innsmouth and to Chulu himself, who is the subject matter of the song's chorus. It's considered the heaviest track on this album on Master of Puppets, with the main riff emulating a beast dragging itself into the sea. The Black Sabbath influenced guitars are downtuned, creating slow and moody ambiance. Let's go. All right, The Thing That Should Not Be. I mean, it's paint by the numbers Metallica. I don't mean that in a bad way. Great guitar work, nice vocals. Lyricism is that abstract. A little more abstract than the last 2 songs for sure, but for people into those sort of things, I'm sure it works very well, but a good choice at number 5. Next up at number 4, we got Seek and Destroy from the Kill 'Em All, originally on the demo for No Life Till Leather, and all the way back in 1982. River says, this and the 4 Horsemen off Kill 'Em All is part of why I consider Kill 'Em All an incredible album. Such a heavy album containing some incredible writing and guitar work. I found it was inspired by Diamond Head's Dead Reckonings, the first song Metallica recorded during the Kill 'Em All sessions. Hetfield wrote the main riff in his truck outside of Los Angeles sticker factory where he was working. The song represents someone looking for victims, hence Seek and Destroy. It usually serves as a closer for every Metallica concert. I don't know if that was still the case or not. In an interview, Lars was asked, were you conscious that you were writing a song you'd still be playing 35 years later? Haha, we weren't conscious full stop. No, absolutely not. Without sounding too full of ourselves, We always treated the songs as equals. We felt that the song before Seek and Destroy and the song after it were just as good. And the one thing we didn't have was a lot of songs to choose from. Kill 'Em All was not the 10 best songs we had in 1983. It was the 10 songs in 1983. I love his honesty. You read interviews with other bands. Yeah, we wrote 20 songs, picked the 10 best for the record. It's not our approach. What's the point of writing a song if it wasn't good enough to go on the record? There weren't 7 leftover songs for the Ride the Lightning album. Every single song that we've ever written, you've heard. I thought that was an incredibly interesting quote because I've honestly never heard of such a thing, but I respect it. Makes a lot of sense. I think this song was really well suited arrangement-wise. It built the tension of, these guys looking to kill somebody, right? Search and Seek and Destroy, man, that kind of sticks in your head. So another song, it's really well done. Except we have one from the And Justice for All album in 1988, based on the novel Johnny Got His Gun by Dalton Trumbo. There, John Bonham, a soldier in World War I, is hit by a landmine explosion that takes away his limbs and face and becomes a prisoner in his own body. Joe lost his senses and can't communicate, but is still kept alive by the medical crew. Thus, the lyrics follow his plea to be put out of his misery. Marked the first time Metallica did a music video for one of their songs. It's the band's first to chart in the U.S., reaching 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's also #1 hit in Finland, of all places. Won a Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance, the first ever to win in that category. Rolling Stone ranked it number 11 on their 100 greatest heavy metal songs of all time. Let's get it. All right, a really well done song. It starts out with a little bit of war stuff and, in the sound effects and there's several different guitar solos on here. Kirk on his own and then dueling with James. And they're all really well done. Builds a great soundscape to what, the description of what this guy was going through would be literally hell on earth, trapped in your body and not being able to do anything and not wanting to be here anymore because of that pain, but not being able to voice it. So well done song. Interesting song to decide to write, right? They have some creative stuff. They really do. Still got 2 songs left. Number 2, we got Battery off Master of Puppets in 1986. The lyrics discuss control of anger over one's behavior. However, the theme of the song is based around the San Francisco thrash scene in the 1980s. The most prominent club played by Metallica was the old Waldorf at 444 Battery Street in downtown San Francisco. The lyric, "Cannot kill the family, battery is found in me," is a statement that society does not understand the scene and that those within it, the family, will defend it as a show of solidarity against the glam metal scene that was popular in the LA area. The tone of the song is of familial ties and the positive release of energy through interest in metal. So Battery or Battery, it's really about the thrash sound of it that makes it. There's not much to the lyrics, but I get why it's Rivers number 2. I mean, if you like this style, you're going to really like this. It's really well done. And drum roll and dual guitar solo roll, so to speak, for Whom the Bell Tolls, #1 off Ride the Lightning in 1984. River says, "Fun fact I realized, my favorite Clash song is Spanish Bombs. Both it and this song, my favorite Metallica song, or what I consider their best, are about the same topic, Spanish Civil War. This song, titled after Ernest Hemingway's book of the same name, the song has some of my favorite lyrics about the futility of warfare. Quote, for a hill they would kill, why? They do not know, end quote. And is based on the story of the book. This is a rare, perfect song, in my opinion. River knows a lot about music. You could not change a note or a tone and end up with a better version of it. I found just exactly what River was saying, but expounding on it. It's a 1940 Ernest Hemingway novel for the Whom the Bell Tolls. Specific allusions are made to the scene described in chapter 27 of the book, in which 5 soldiers are obliterated during an airstrike after taking a defensive position on a hill. Cliff Burton plays the bass guitar introduction with heavy distortion and a wah pedal. There were 3 tracks of bass that he recorded: lead bass, which was distorted, bass, non-distorted, and harmonics over the lead. He wrote the intro before joining Metallica and first played it during a 12-minute jam at a Battle of the Bands with his second band, Agents of Misfortune, all the way back in 1979. Kirk Hammett told Metal Hammer, that was a key song for us. Again, the intro was a Cliff thing. He'd play it all the time, and the rest of us would stiffen up and go, what the heck was that? That was completely his own creation. It's just this weird chromatic thing, the note choice. It's just highly unconventional, even to this day. Did anyone ask us to make the intro shorter? No. We're all 100% committed to every single note, every single beat. The bell sound heard at the beginning of the track was actually produced by drummer Lars Ulrich, striking an anvil with a metal hammer in combination with a bell from a sound effects reel. In March of 2023, Rolling Stone ranked this at number 39 on their 100 greatest metal songs of all time. It did go to 18 on the U.S. Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart. Let's go number 1 on Rivers Metallica Top 10. For Whom the Bell Tolls. All right, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Fantastic song, really well written. The lyrics hit home then in 1984. They hit home now in 2025. And unfortunately, they're probably going to hit home for time immemorial as long as this earth exists. But really well done. All the way back, like I said, in 1984. They were getting it done. All right, now we're going to go to my favorite tracks. Honorable mention, Ride the Lightning. I thought the guitar on there from Kirk was awesome. It's awesome on all the stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. And Enter Sandman. I mean, that's the song that's really the only song I knew, but also, the video, I think it's hard not to be at least honorable mention. Faves are going to be Creeping Death off Ride the Lightning, and ironically enough, For Whom the Bell Tolls off Ride the Lightning. My overall thoughts on Metallica going into this, I'm not a Metallica guy. I just never was. I don't know a ton of their stuff. I'll be honest with you, I'm still not a Metallica guy. I see why people love them. I've done the big 4 of thrash now, and Metallica is actually my least favorite of the 4 lists that I did. Still really well done. I see why you guys love these songs. I'm sure if you're a Metallica fan, you're going to come after me below. I get it, man. I totally get it. Feel free. But thank you to River, not only for putting this together, but for putting the big 4 together. So go check out the other 3. I'm actually going to put them in a link down below so you can just click on each one. We got Anthrax, we got Megadeth, and we got Slayer. So go check those out. All really, really good lists. All right, guys, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up, or maybe if you're pissed because of what I said, give it a thumbs down. Interact. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, I will see you.